At his son's wedding, during the toast, the groom announced to 200 guests, "I'm taking my wife's last name. The Harrison name embarrasses me. It represents everything I'm not." His father sat at the back table silent. Then the best man handed him a microphone. "Before we continue," the father said, "there's a video I'd like everyone to see. It's about the Harrison name and what it really represents." His name was Robert Harrison, 63 years old in 2008, owned Harrison Construction, a small company that built affordable housing in Detroit, Michigan. Started the company in 1979 with $8,000 borrowed from his father. Built it over 29 years into a company that employed 47 people and had built over 300 homes. Robert wasn't wealthy. The homes he built weren't mansions. They were starter homes, 200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, small yards, the kind of houses working families could actually afford. Teachers, factory workers, single mothers, young couples just starting out. He'd been married to Ellen for 38 years, high school sweethearts, married right after graduation in 1970. She worked as a secretary at an elementary school. They had 2 children, a daughter, Lisa, 36, married with 2 kids, working as a dental hygienist, and a son, Michael, 31, getting married today. Michael had always been different from the rest of the family. Robert and Ellen were blue-collar people, worked hard, saved carefully, lived modestly, believed in family, community, helping your neighbor. Michael wanted more, always had. Even as a kid, he was embarrassed by their small house, their old cars, the fact that his father wore work boots and his mother packed his lunch in a used bread bag. In high school, Michael started lying about what his father did. Told friends Robert was a developer, not a construction worker. Told them they lived in a bigger house than they did. Borrowed money to buy expensive clothes so he'd fit in with the wealthier kids. Robert tried to talk to him. "Michael, there's no shame in honest work. There's no shame in our life. You don't understand, Dad. I want more than this. I don't want to be like you." That hurt. But Robert let it go, figured Michael would grow out of it. Michael went to college, Wayne State University, studied business. Robert and Ellen paid for it, took out a second mortgage on the house, $40,000 over 4 years. They wanted Michael to have opportunities they never had. Michael graduated in 2000, got a job at a marketing firm in downtown Detroit. Starting salary, $35,000. He moved into an apartment he couldn't afford, bought a car on credit, and started dating Amanda Whitmore. Amanda came from money. Her father owned a chain of luxury car dealerships, 5 locations across Michigan. Her family lived in Bloomfield Hills, one of the wealthiest suburbs in the state. Their house was 6,000 square feet. Her mother drove a Mercedes, her father a Porsche. Michael was dazzled. This was the life he'd always wanted, the life he felt he deserved. He started bringing Amanda around for family dinners. Robert and Ellen tried to make her feel welcome, but the differences were obvious. They lived in a 1,100 square foot house in a working-class neighborhood. Their furniture was from the 1980s. Their dishes didn't match. Amanda was polite but distant. After the second visit, she stopped coming. Michael started making excuses. She's busy. She has plans with her family. Eventually, he stopped inviting her. Robert noticed Michael was pulling away. Missed Thanksgiving 2003. Showed up late to Christmas. Barely called. In 2005, Michael got engaged to Amanda. The engagement party was at the Whitmore estate. Robert and Ellen weren't invited. Michael said it was just family and close friends. Ellen cried that night. "We're not even close friends to our own son?" Robert held her. "He's young. He'll come around." But Michael didn't come around. Over the next 3 years, as the wedding was planned, Robert and Ellen were systematically excluded. Not asked about the venue, not consulted about the date, not involved in any decisions. The wedding invitation arrived in March 2008. Formal, expensive cardstock. Mr. and Mrs. Robert Harrison are invited to the wedding of Michael James Harrison and Amanda Nicole Whitmore. Black tie required. Ellen looked at the invitation and started crying again. We weren't even asked to help plan it. We're just guests. Robert called Michael. Son, your mother and I would like to take you and Amanda to dinner. Celebrate the engagement properly. Dad, we're really busy with planning. Maybe after the wedding. Michael, we barely see you anymore. We barely know Amanda. Can we at least... I have to go, Dad. We'll see you at the wedding. The wedding was scheduled for June 14th, 2008, Saturday afternoon. Grosse Pointe Yacht Club, one of the most exclusive venues in the area. The kind of place Robert had built houses near but never been inside. Robert bought a tuxedo. First time he'd ever owned one. $400 at Men's Warehouse. Ellen bought a dress. $200 at Macy's. It was the nicest outfit either of them had ever worn. Lisa called her father the week before the wedding. Dad, I need to tell you something. Michael called me. He said he doesn't want you to do anything at the wedding. Don't give a toast. Don't make a speech. He said Amanda's family is handling everything and he doesn't want you to embarrass him. Robert felt like he'd been punched. Did he say how I might embarrass him? Dad, Michael's different now. He's ashamed of where he came from. I'm sorry. I've never embarrassed that boy in my life. I worked 2 jobs to put him through college. I taught him to be honest, to work hard, to... I know, Dad, I know, but Michael sees it differently now. Amanda's family has money and status, and Michael wants to be part of that world. He doesn't want reminders of his past. The wedding day arrived. Robert and Ellen drove to Grosse Pointe in their 2001 Ford pickup. It looked out of place in the yacht club parking lot full of BMWs and Lexuses. Inside, the venue was spectacular. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake. The kind of place that cost $200 per plate. 200 guests, most of them Amanda's family and friends. Robert recognized maybe 20 people from Michael's side. Mostly distant relatives and college friends. Robert and Ellen were seated at table 18 in the back, near the kitchen doors. Lisa and her husband were at table 3, closer to the front. Michael's friends were at tables 5 through 8. Robert and Ellen, the groom's parents, were in the back. Ellen whispered, "Why are we so far back?" Robert knew why, but he didn't say it. He just squeezed her hand. The ceremony was beautiful. Michael looked happy. Amanda looked stunning. They exchanged vows, kissed. Everyone applauded. The reception began. Dinner was served. Speeches started. Amanda's father went first, talked about his daughter, how proud he was, how Michael was a fine young man with a bright future in business. The maid of honor went next, told stories about Amanda's childhood, college years, how she and Michael met. Then the best man, Amanda's brother, stood up. "Before I give my toast, Michael has something he'd like to say." Michael stood, took the microphone, looked around the room at 200 guests. "Thank you all for being here. This is the happiest day of my life. Amanda and I are starting a new chapter together, a new family, and to symbolize that, I've made a decision." He paused for effect. "I'm taking Amanda's last name. Starting today, I'll be Michael Whitmore. No more Harrison. The Harrison name, honestly, it embarrasses me. It represents a life I don't want, a background I've spent years trying to move beyond. My father was a construction worker. My mother was a secretary. They're good people, but they're not the kind of people I want to be. Amanda's family represents success, class, achievement. That's the family I want to be part of. That's the name I want to carry." The room went silent, shocked. People looked around uncomfortably. A few looked at Robert and Ellen sitting at table 18. Ellen's face was white, tears streaming down her cheeks. Lisa stood up, furious, but her husband grabbed her arm. Robert sat there, hands folded on the table, face expressionless. Michael continued, oblivious. "So from this moment forward, I'm Michael Whitmore, and our children will be Whitmores. The Harrison line ends here, and I'm glad it does." He raised his glass. "To new beginnings and leaving the past behind." A few people, mostly Amanda's friends who didn't know better, raised their glasses awkwardly. Most people just sat there, stunned. Michael sat down, looking pleased with himself. Amanda was smiling, holding his hand. Robert stood up slowly, walked to the front of the room. The best man, confused, handed him a microphone. "I'm Robert Harrison," he said quietly. "Michael's father. The embarrassment. I wasn't planning to speak today. Michael made it clear he didn't want me to. But after what he just said, I think there's something everyone here should know about the Harrison name, about what it really represents." He pulled out a small remote from his pocket, nodded to the AV tech. A screen lowered behind the head table. A projector turned on. The video started. It opened with black and white footage from the 1940s. A young man in military uniform. Robert's voice narrated, "This is James Harrison, my grandfather, Michael's great-grandfather, enlisted in 1942, fought in World War II, Normandy Beach, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, came home in 1945 and worked as a janitor for 40 years because that's the only job he could get. But he did it with dignity, never complained, raised 4 children, including my father." The video shifted. More photos. A man in work clothes. "This is William Harrison, my father, Michael's grandfather. Started working at age 14 to help support his family. Became a union electrician, worked on building the Renaissance Center, helped wire half of downtown Detroit, raised 5 children, including me. Never made more than $40,000 a year, but he put all 5 of us through school." More photos. Robert himself, younger, in work clothes. "This is me, Robert Harrison, in 1979, starting Harrison Construction with $8,000 and a dream. Not to get rich, not to be famous, but to build homes that working families could afford. Over the past 29 years, Harrison Construction has built 312 homes. Every single one sold to a first-time home buyer. Every single one under $150,000. The video showed families moving into homes, kids playing in yards, people waving at the camera. These are the families who live in Harrison homes. Teachers, nurses, factory workers, single mothers, people who thought they'd never own a home, but they do now because of the Harrison name." The video shifted again. Showed a woman, Ellen, in her elementary school office. "This is Ellen Harrison, my wife, Michael's mother, works at Oakwood Elementary. For 35 years, she's been the first person kids see when they walk into that school. She knows every child's name, knows which ones come to school hungry, keeps granola bars in her desk drawer for them, has probably fed 10,000 kids over the years, out of her own pocket, never asked for recognition. That's what the Harrison name does." More footage. Lisa, Robert's daughter. "This is Lisa Harrison, Michael's sister, became a dental hygienist specifically so she could work at the community health clinic. Provides free dental care to low-income families twice a week." Again, the Harrison name. The video shifted to recent footage. A ceremony, people in suits, a plaque being unveiled. 2 months ago, the city of Detroit recognized Harrison Construction for building affordable housing for 29 years. They named a street after my father, William Harrison Boulevard. Because the Harrison name means something in this city. It means hard work. It means integrity. It means helping people who need help. The video paused on the street sign. William Harrison Boulevard. Robert's voice continued from behind the screen. "My son Michael just told 200 people that the Harrison name embarrasses him, that it represents a life he doesn't want, a background he's been trying to escape." Robert stepped out from behind the screen, looked directly at Michael. "Michael, you're right about one thing. The Harrison name does represent something. It represents working 60-hour weeks so your children can have opportunities you didn't. It represents second mortgages to pay for college. It represents showing up every day and doing honest work even when you're tired. It represents caring more about your character than your car. It represents building something bigger than yourself." He paused. The room was completely silent. "You said the Harrison name embarrasses you. You know what embarrasses me? Raising a son who thinks his worth is measured by his last name instead of his actions, who thinks success means forgetting where you came from, who thinks the people who sacrificed everything for him are something to be ashamed of." Michael's face had gone from confident to pale. "You want to be a Whitmore? Fine. Be a Whitmore, but you should know what you're giving up. The Harrison name comes with 75 years of service, sacrifice, and dignity. It comes with a grandfather who stormed a beach in France, a grandmother who worked 3 jobs to feed her kids, a mother who's fed hungry children for 35 years, a father who's helped 312 families buy their first homes." Robert set down the microphone, picked it up again. "One more thing. That tuxedo you're wearing, I paid for it. $800. That venue, I contributed $15,000 toward it, even though I wasn't asked to. That honeymoon to Italy you're taking, the $5,000 I sent last month, that was me. The embarrassing Harrison paying for the life you wanted." He set the microphone down, looked at Ellen. "Ellen, let's go. We're not welcome here." They walked out. Lisa and her family followed. 40 other people, mostly people who knew Robert from the community, also stood up and left. Construction workers Robert had employed, families who lived in Harrison homes, teachers from Ellen's school. The reception continued, but the damage was done. Half the guests were talking about what just happened. Amanda's parents looked mortified. Michael sat at the head table, stunned. Robert and Ellen drove home in silence. When they got there, Ellen finally spoke. "I'm proud of you. I shouldn't have done that. It was his wedding. I ruined it." "No, he ruined it. You just told the truth." The next day, Lisa called. "Dad, Michael's been calling me. He's furious. Says you humiliated him." I told the truth about our family. If he's humiliated by the truth, that's his problem. Amanda's parents are furious too. Apparently half the guests left after you did. The whole wedding fell apart. Good. Over the next few weeks, Robert got phone calls, emails, letters from former employees. "Mr. Harrison, I saw what your son said. I want you to know the Harrison name gave me my start in construction. I'll never forget it." From families in Harrison homes. "We saw the video online. Someone posted it. Mr. Harrison, you built our home. Our children grew up in it. The Harrison name means everything to us." From Ellen's school. "Mrs. Harrison, we've known Michael since he was a boy. We're ashamed of what he said. You and Mr. Harrison are the best people we know." The video went viral. Someone had recorded it on their phone and posted it to YouTube. Within 2 weeks, it had 5 million views. News stations picked it up. "Groom insults father at wedding. Father responds with devastating video." Michael and Amanda's honeymoon was cut short. They came home to a social media firestorm. Michael's employer, the marketing firm, let him go, said they couldn't have someone on staff who publicly humiliated his parents. Amanda's family, mortified by the publicity, distanced themselves from Michael. The promised job at her father's dealership, canceled. Michael tried to apologize, called Robert, left voicemails. "Dad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I was trying to impress Amanda's family. Please, I need help. I lost my job. We need money." Robert never called back. Lisa did, though. "Dad, Michael's desperate. He's asking to borrow money. He says he made a mistake. He made his choice, Lisa. He said the Harrison name embarrassed him. Well, now he doesn't have it anymore. He's Michael Whitmore. Let the Whitmores help him." But the Whitmores didn't help him. Amanda's father wanted nothing to do with him after the public humiliation. Amanda filed for divorce 6 months later, said Michael had deceived her about his family situation and embarrassed her. Michael lost everything: the job, the wife, the life he thought he wanted. In 2010, 2 years after the wedding, Michael showed up at Robert's construction site, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, looking tired. "Dad, can we talk?" Robert looked at him. "What do you want?" "I want to apologize, really apologize, not because I need something, but because I was wrong. I was so wrong." "Okay. I spent 2 years trying to be someone I wasn't, trying to fit into a world that didn't want me. And I lost everything: my job, my marriage, my dignity. But the worst thing I lost was my family. Was you and Mom and Lisa. I threw away the people who actually loved me for people who only liked what they thought I was." Robert didn't say anything. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know what I said at my wedding was unforgivable. But I'm asking anyway. I'm asking if maybe possibly I could earn back the Harrison name. Not by asking for it, but by proving I deserve it." Robert looked at his son, saw genuine remorse, saw humility he'd never seen before. "You want the Harrison name back? I want to be your son again. You never stopped being my son, Michael, even when you didn't want to be." Robert put him to work. Bottom level, labor, $12 an hour, carrying lumber, mixing concrete, learning the business from the ground up. Michael worked harder than he'd ever worked in his life, showed up early, stayed late, learned from the crew, listened instead of talked. After 6 months, Robert promoted him to assistant foreman. After a year, project manager. After 2 years, Michael had earned back the respect of every worker on every crew. In 2013, Michael legally changed his name back to Harrison, filed the paperwork himself, paid the fee himself, wanted Robert to know it meant something. Robert retired in 2015, handed Harrison Construction to Michael and Lisa, who ran it together. The company is still operating today, still building affordable homes, still employing people who need a chance, still carrying the Harrison name. Robert died in 2019, age 74, heart attack, quick and painless. At his funeral, Michael gave the eulogy. "My father was Robert Harrison, and for a long time I was ashamed of that name, ashamed of what it represented, but I was wrong. The Harrison name doesn't represent poverty or lack of ambition. It represents something much more valuable. It represents showing up, working hard, helping people, building something that lasts, and I'm proud to carry it." 300 people attended that funeral: construction workers, families from Harrison homes, teachers, nurses, people whose lives Robert had touched. At the gravestone, the inscription reads, "Robert Harrison, builder, father," a name that meant something. The groom who insulted his father's name at his own wedding. The father who responded with a video that went viral. The son who lost everything and had to earn back his father's name through years of hard work. The family name that represented 75 years of service, dignity, and sacrifice. Sometimes the names we're born with are the ones worth keeping. Sometimes the life we're trying to escape is the one worth living. Sometimes the father we're embarrassed by is the man we should aspire to be. And now you know the rest of the story. Paul Harvey, good day.